Welcome to the WLAQ Community Spotlight, where we highlight the wonderful organizations and people that make the Rome community a great place to call home. Here's today's host.
And good afternoon. I'm glad to be back with you, Elizabeth Davis, representing WLAQ on the WLAQ Rome Facebook page and the WLAQ Radio YouTube channel. And today our focus of WLAQ Community Spotlight is on the Floyd County Emergency Management Agency. We've got Director Tim Herrington in the studio. Also, Chris Fincher is here. And Chris, refresh my memory, your position.
Deputy Director.
Deputy Director of the Floyd County Emergency Management Agency. And we've got quite a bit to cover over the next few minutes because y'all have got a lot going on. Thank you so much for coming in today.
You're welcome.
So let's start by talking about something, Tim, we talk about this often on the radio, the SAFE Academy, because it's back.
Yes, it is. And the SAFE Academy, it was actually Chris who developed that. And he kind of told me some of the ideas that he was having. And I said, hey, green light it, go with it. Mm-hmm. So I'll let him talk about it. But we're real excited about the amount of interest that we've got, especially the second time around. We've gotten a lot more interest. So I think folks enjoyed it the first time. So we're hoping that we'll be able to continue to expand on it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Chris, what motivated you to create the SAFE Academy?
So when I was at the police department, I did some community training there. And when I came over, Tim was very gracious to kind of allow me to also do training here. I feel like it's important for our community to be knowledgeable because when you've got knowledge, then you're really empowered to be able to act, especially in time of need. So the things that we're teaching at SAFE Preparedness Academy are emergency preparedness tips. But now this year we've kind of expanded into some other things that we're offering. But some of our more popular classes are our CPR class. We just had it. Mm-hmm. But also we've got some active shooter and emergency planning that we offer for churches, civic groups, and work. Anybody that wants to come in and learn more about just planning for their agency, they're welcome to come in. We go through some strategies, and we also give them the paperwork to fill out. But I feel like folks want to learn things. They're interested in their community, and we want to be the resource that they come to for that learning.
Yeah, and it sounds to me like this is an extension of what you do to keep people safe.
Yep, exactly.
So let's talk about upcoming sessions. I know that you used to have it twice monthly. Now you've reduced it to once monthly. Right. And apparently that's led to an uptick in participation.
Yes, exactly. I mean, we've got more participation from the community and from other partner agencies that weren't involved the first go around, and now they're really wanting to be involved this time. So it's a lot easier on Chris when he has to plan on facilitating this event. So it's a lot easier. Whereas before, doing it twice a month, he was scrambling, but he did a good job. But
it's nice to see a full house.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. So you've already done the August session, as you mentioned. You had a great turnout for that. Yep. Let's talk about the sessions for the remainder of the year: September, November, October, December. I got those out of order. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So our next class is a topic that not a lot of people are comfortable talking about, but they're interested in it. It's about just gangs in our community and human trafficking. There's just been a lot out there on social media and in the news, and folks have questions. So we want to make the police and investigators accessible for people. There shouldn't be any wonder or questions in your mind about anything. So we want to bring these resources to you so you can ask questions. So that's our next class is about human trafficking and gang awareness. Then our October class is active shooter. November, we've got animals in disaster. So if you have pets, you have goats, you have pigs, cows, horses, we're going to have our local animal control there to talk about how and what you should do for your animals, when you should bring them in, when you should pay attention to them and things like that. So a lot of people don't think about, they're like, oh, they're just animals, they're okay. But that's not necessarily true because you wouldn't want to be out there. So we want to talk about those sort of topics as well with the public. And then our last class is talking about our vulnerable population, especially those who may have dementia or autism, and they may wander away from home. So the sheriff's office has agreed to come in. They're going to teach and talk about what exactly goes into an emergency search. What do we do? But we also want to talk about some tips about what you should watch out for if you are taking care of a family member who may be living with that sort of situation.
Wow, some pretty hefty
they really
subjects
are.
that you've got to cover. But unfortunately, there are things that happen. There are
Right.
things that for which you should be prepared. So let's talk about pre-registration. Do you expect people to pre-register, or can they just show up?
Nope, we would like for you to pre-register because we do provide dinner. We want everybody to have the opportunity to be able to eat. You're more than welcome to just show up, but we hope that you'll register so that we can provide you for that food. We've been very fortunate to have some good partners. This session, Atrium Health EMS has been very gracious to be able to provide dinner, so thank you for that.
Awesome. So where do they go to register?
They can contact us on our social media or at floydcountyema.com.
Awesome. So before we move on to the next subject, anything else you guys would like to say with regard to the Safe Academy?
No, I want to say thank you to Tim for letting me, work on this. He's a visionary and he's got things that he wants to do, and I'm here to make sure those things get done.
Awesome.
We are working on some upgrades. We're in the early stages of some upgrades at the EOC that are going to be pretty significant with training, not just for the community, but for other agencies as well. So we're still in the early stages of that. We're in the planning stages of that, but hopefully we'll be able to get that done pretty quick and get that up and going and online. So it'll be a benefit to not just the community, but the our partner agencies as well.
Yeah, awesome. So let's talk about something that you are now about, or you're about to introduce. You just introduced the Explorer. That Explorer. It's kind of like trying to say emperors. Explorer program. Let's talk about the Explorer program.
So we've been in a rebuilding stage with our volunteers. COVID didn't do any favors to volunteering in general. So a lot of the folks who once were able to come out aren't really able to, and it's kind of hurt us in ways. So we're looking to rebuild that. One of those ways is through talking with the youth, because we've got our Safe Academy. Some of those topics are geared more towards adults, but we also want to empower and give knowledge to our teens as well. So the Explorer program is aligned with, it's not necessarily a scouting program, but it's aligned with them closely. So you don't have to be a scout to be an explorer, but anybody is able to come in to exploring. So what we've done is we're going to teach the CERT curriculum. CERT curriculum is going to be everything from what is a disaster to teaching CPR. We're also going to teach some minor fire suppression and light search and rescue, things like that. There's some other things with CERT too, right? You've taught it before.
And as far as CERT, that acronym stands for Community Emergency Response Team.
Thank you.
And at one point, we had the largest CERT team in the state. Wow. Probably 10, 12 years ago. We had well over 400 people.
Wow.
And again, over the years, it just kind of dwindled. And then, of course, with COVID, it just kind of devastated a lot of, not just our volunteers, because everybody's in the same boat that we are as far as trying to get volunteer support for their agency. So we're just kind of trying to spearhead this to kind of get it up and going. So we at least introduced the teenagers to the different organizations, and if they develop a liking for it, then we're hoping that they'll come back and possibly join, and maybe at some point replace Chris and I.
Well, it wasn't.
You got to have your successors, man.
There you go.
And it wasn't too long ago that the volunteer force, when it was strong and going, a lot of those volunteers went on to public safety.
Yes,
they joined EMS, they joined fire. So that's one of the goals of this program is recruiting for our local public safety. Share knowledge with the kids, but also bolster our volunteer force. So there's kind of a three-prong approach to it, and we're excited about it. Cool. This sort of CERT training and safe training starts with you learning how to take care of yourself. It's like the thing when you get on an airplane and the oxygen mask come down.
Right.
you've got to be able to take care of yourself before you can take care of somebody else. So that's what we want to teach with these classes, to teach you how to take care of yourself so that you can care for your loved ones, and then maybe go next door and take care of your community. Even if you don't want to be a part of an organized group, you're at least able to take care of yourself in a time. So kids are around so much now, not only in school, but in their works and with their friends out doing things. God forbid if something were to happen at school, we want to be able to train leaders who can talk within the school and be able to act if something were to happen. So that's very important.
And unfortunately, we've seen so many tragedies happen in the news all over the country. We hope it doesn't happen here, but it's wise to be prepared.
Yeah.
So how can people sign up for the Explorer class?
So they can go to our website or also find us on social media. Like I said, floydcountyema.com. Our social media is EMA Floyd GA, and you can find that on all of our channels just by searching EMA Floyd GA. So we're involved with the police department, EMS. 911 has also got a part in this. We're going to have a radio ops auxiliary course where we're going to give them radios. We're going to teach them radio etiquette, how to talk on the radio. You know, it's something you don't think about. You're in broadcasting, so you're familiar with the microphone, but a lot of people, when they talk on the radio, they want to put it in their mouth or they want to talk too far away. So we're going to give them an opportunity to be behind the console in our backup 911 center. Like I said, this is a really good opportunity for recruiting because sometimes you may not have somebody in your family or a friend that's involved in public safety. So this is an opportunity for them to work with and be around somebody involved. So
an opportunity to get some exposure to something that might be their life's calling.
And the fire department's also involved. They're teaching a couple of courses for us. We're putting the experts, we're putting the kids with the experts.
Cool.
This is going to be for kids 14 to 20. Like I said, you don't have to be a scout. And we are working with some financial partners right now to set this up so that registration is free.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's what we're, fingers crossed, those will hopefully be.
And when do you anticipate sessions will begin?
We've got sessions possibly starting at the end of September.
Okay. That'll be here before you know it.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, we're still nursing this right now and trying to get it going. So we're kind of at a timeline, but we're excited and we're confident that we're going to be able to kick it off by the end of September.
Awesome. And speaking of September, I want to, you know where I'm going with this.
I know where you're going.
Anything else you want to say about the Explorer program?
Yep, thank you.
So talking about September, National Preparedness Month, Tim, we talk about it on the radio about every year. Is that something that's still a thing? I know, National Preparedness Month was such a big deal in light of 9/11.
It's still a thing.
Yeah.
It's still a thing. And we're going to look at partnering with some agencies to take advantage of September being Preparedness Month. So we'll start pushing out a lot of information on our social media. And we're also trying to coordinate a National Weather Service session in Cave Spring for September Preparedness Month. So we've got a lot of plans for this month. And, at one point we used to do the Preparedness Expo at the Brave Stadium, and we hadn't done that in a while.
Yeah.
But we're going to be working toward moving back to that at some point. Maybe next year we'll be able to get that up and going. But I think this year we're going to start a little bit smaller and try and reach as many people as we can and just be as upfront and accessible as we can with preparedness information.
Awesome.
And a lot of things that people don't think about, especially with earthquake preparedness and things like that. I had a camp group that I was talking to a few weeks ago, and I had mentioned earthquakes, and they had no idea what I was talking about. And
We've experienced them here.
Exactly. I said, we have a lot of earthquakes here. People just don't realize it, but we do.
I remember there was one back in 2003, and I felt it. It was weird. The only time I remember an occasion like that.
Yeah, so it's me as well. That's the only one I've ever felt.
Yeah, it's not California, but it can happen.
Exactly. So we have to be prepared for it.
Yeah. So, and of course, September is almost here. We're at its doorstep. So what are some things that people need to keep in mind as we head into National Preparedness Month?
Well, I think the main thing is take a look at your personal safety plans. Okay, it may be time to change some things. Things change. Kids get older, or kids move out. then you need to start making adjustments to your safety plans and your preparedness kit, your emergency kit. You need to look at those. Have your needs changed? Then at that point, you need to make sure that you start changing things in your kit. Once you put your kit together, you can't just leave it because it has to change. It has to be seasonal.
Yeah.
And so you have to go in and look at things and adjust things, and then some things may start getting close to expiration. And that being the case, you need to go ahead and change it out. And I think a lot of your canned goods are probably right up there when they start getting close to expiration. Hey, pull that stuff out and cook it, and then replace it. And I know a lot of people are looking at a lot of the meals that you can buy and you can store. And I think the longest one I've seen is like maybe a 20-year shelf life.
I never understood that. I'm like, I imagine that wouldn't be very good food.
No, it wouldn't be. But again, a lot of it is not very good, and it's not really meant to be. It's just meant to sustain you for a period of 72 hours.
Yeah,
and so you have to look at
20
that.
years.
Yeah, exactly. So if we have 20 years, you're probably pushing it, but at least that's a comfort to you to know that you do have those resources available to you for that longer time for shelf life. And then, of course, another time to look at your smoke detectors, smoke alarms. Go in there and check those batteries, change those things out, because we're quickly approaching the time change. And I know normally when people look at changing those things over, but I have been changing batteries in my house fairly regular, whether it's the car alarm. I had to change the batteries in it, watch batteries and things like that. And unfortunately, the battery life on a lot of these batteries is not as long as you think it is.
Right.
So you may need to go around and take an opportunity to check those things and make sure that they are still working properly, or go ahead and just change them so you'll be sure that they're all working.
Yeah, or get a new smoke alarm if you need to do that.
Exactly.
And one thing that we were talking about the Rome Floyd Fire Department earlier, they offer smoke alarms.
Yes,
so
they do.
people need to take advantage of that service for sure.
Yeah, they do.
So, and talking about preparedness, we talk about this also. It is easy. There's an app for that.
It is. Now, we have several apps for that. And then I always tell people that you don't have to get the Floyd County EMA app.
Yes, you do.
We hope you do. But there's others out there.
Right.
And that's my point. Because Chris and I, we have several apps on our phone. And it's better to have too many than none.
Yeah.
And it still amazes me how you run across some folks that don't have any.
Yeah.
And you got to have something. And here we've got our Floyd County EMA app. We also have our Code Red alert notification app. And those are specifically geared for issues that affect Rome and Floyd County. Right? And now some of your other apps that you may get, they aren't really specifically for Rome and Floyd County. They may be other issues, like a lot of them are kind of out of Atlanta. They're monitoring anything that happens on 75 and things like that. But and which that's a good thing if you're traveling. But if you're here local, then you need to have access to local information, and that's what we are pushing out on our app. And Chris is also instrumental on our Code Red, and also on our Facebook app. He pushes out a lot of information. To the community, especially with, I think recently we just had the semi accident out on 20 West. Well, Chris was on top of that, pushing out information over the EMA app out to folks, and we're trying to get a handle on the detour routes so that we could push that out to the community so they would know what was going on. And he's been very good at staying in communication with local law enforcement and fire and 911 when we do have significant issues, and he's able to get on our Facebook page and also on our cell phone app and push that information out to the community. I know that's a benefit. People appreciate that information.
So if you haven't already liked the Floyd County Emergency Management Facebook page, then you need to do that.
Yes, you should.
And get the app. There's an app for that, for sure.
That's right.
It is.
And so we've covered a lot of ground since you guys have been here. Any other topics that you'd like to let listeners know about, or viewers, I guess I should say?
One app that I had and I've had it on my phone forever, but it's the Google Interpreter app, and I had an opportunity to use it several weeks ago when we had a thunderstorm, and even though it wasn't raining, there was a lot of thunder, and you know, I was getting the lightning reports where lightning within 3 miles or whatever, and I did come across some folks that were out enjoying the weather, and they actually had some kids in a kiddie pool.
Oh,
And
that's dangerous.
Exactly, and I stopped, and I was able to use that Google Translator app to explain why they shouldn't do that, and they were very appreciative.
Yeah.
And, I'm glad it worked out that way, but that's just an app that you wouldn't think about ever having to use, and I had an opportunity to use it, and it worked really, really well.
And modern technology, amazing.
It is when it works. When it works.
Yeah, oh, that's true. That's true. Yep. I do want to talk about one other topic because we were talking about this a little earlier before we went on air, about the fact that lately, we've had it's been a little bit more comfortable the last couple of days here in Rome and Floyd County, but we're not out of the woods as far as heat because this is Georgia.
Exactly.
So we probably ought to cover the topic of heat safety so that people can be safe when it returns.
Exactly. And like we was discussing earlier, that this week is going to be fairly calm temperature-wise.
I love
Heat's not going to be that bad. But it's not going to stay that way. And then at some point, probably next week sometime, it'll probably go back to being hot, humid again. And we're not finished with the rain either, because we're going to have some more rain coming in as well, so we have to deal with that. But the main thing is to prepare yourself for the heat emergencies, whether that's heat cramps, heat exhaustion, heat stroke. Then you want to make sure that you prepare yourself. If you're going to be outside doing any type of strenuous work, then it's always good to start earlier in the morning when it's a little bit cooler. And then as it gets hotter, then you start taking more breaks, or you just stop
Go
inside and start back up the next day. And so we've been pushing out a lot of that information on our digital signs that we've had out on Riverside Parkway, and also on the Emergency Connector, reminding folks about trying to stay cool during the hot days. As far as sunscreen and wearing hats and loose fitting clothing and light colored clothing as well, and taking more breaks and then drinking a lot of water. And I think that's gone really, really well. We have been also talking about hot car incidents. We've been pushing out information about that as well. So you want to make sure that, if you've got pets, that you really don't want to leave the pets in the car. You don't want to leave small children. You don't want to leave the elderly sitting in a hot car, even if it's for just a second. Right. That's 1 second too long.
Yeah, and that short amount of time makes a huge difference.
Exactly.
It can be the difference between life and death. So, yeah. Thank you for encouraging folks to be safe out there. Thank you for what you both do to encourage folks to be safe out there. And thank you for your time today. It's been a pleasure to chat with you.
Oh, it's been great. Thank you.
And our guest for this edition of WLAQ Community Spotlight, Tim Herrington, Director of the Floyd County Emergency Management Agency, also with Floyd EMA, Chris Fincher, who is the Deputy Director. And thank you guys again for coming in.
You're welcome.
And with that, we got to wrap up this latest edition of WLAQ Community Spotlight. We thank you for joining us via the WLAQ Rome Facebook page. If you haven't liked that page, please be sure to do so. And the WLAQ Radio YouTube page. Be sure to subscribe. And thanks for joining us.
This has been the WLAQ Community Spotlight. We thank you for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe to the WLAQ Radio YouTube channel and follow WLAQ Rome on Facebook.